Dr. Tengku Hasan, you think that the situation in Sumatra, in what concerns the occupation of Indonesia, it's a kind of colonialism?
Definitely. What happened in Aceh, Sumatra, is the continuation of Dutch colonialism, which is being continued by the Javanese regime of Jakarta over my people. I need to explain that Indonesia is the former colonial empire of the Dutch, which has never been decolonized. This is the origin of all the problems that have been happening there since 1945, that is, since the end of World War II. This is important for me to explain, because with this explanation it is very difficult to know what is going on and why. Even why Indonesia annexed East Timor. This, the reason is originated in the fact that Indonesia is still a colonial empire. Unlike the Portuguese, you have decolonized your colonies in Africa. You return Mozambique to the Mozambicans, Angola to the Angolans, Guinea-Bissau to the Bissauans, Cape Verde to the Cape Verdean, and so on. But the Dutch have never done such thing. They kept all their colonial territories as one, and then they give the power to their mercenaries, the Javanese on the island of Java.
I think you are also the president of National Liberation Front. What kind of movement is this one, and what kind of politic targets you want to reach?
I am glad you asked this question, and I was glad to have explained a little the problem, because of the Dutch colonial empire has never been decolonized. Only the name was changed from the Dutch East Indies to Indonesia. The rest are the same. This is why my people, the people of Aceh, Sumatra, felt it is necessary to regain our independence. Aceh, Sumatra, my people, we have a very long history as an independent state.
What's the population of Aceh, Sumatra?
The population of Aceh, Sumatra, the total population is 25 million. And those who live in the liberated territory now, about 5 million. The history of Aceh, Sumatra has been very different from that of Java. The Javanese has been colonized by the Dutch for nearly 400 years. After the Dutch occupied Jakarta for 300 years, then in March 1873 they declared war against the kingdom of Aceh, Sumatra. And when they landed in Aceh, we defeated them, because Aceh, Sumatra was a military power in Southeast Asia. And the Dutch made the second invasion, the third invasion, the fourth invasion, until this war between Holland and Aceh became almost 100 years. And during that period, we have never been defeated.
You still have an army?
Yes, we have an army now. We recreated since we organized the liberation movement. So what I wanted to say, that Aceh, Sumatra has always been an independent state, internationally recognized even by Holland. That's why they declare officially a war against us. Now, when Holland went away, or we defeated them after World War II, in the beginning of World War II, Aceh Sumatra should have become an independent state automatically again. So this did not happen because the Dutch did not return the country to us, but surrender our territory to Java instead, under cover of the name of Indonesia. Because of this, we have to regain our independence, and for this purpose, we have reorganized our army.
In this moment, what is the position of the United Nations in what concerns the Aceh Sumatra?
The United Nations at the moment has no rule whatsoever, and we, in my liberation movement, we have taken the policy. We are not, for the moment, requesting the United Nations intervention in our case, because we are realistic enough to know that no one ever gained independence by United Nations intermediaries or even by asking the help from the United Nations.
You are for the power of people.
Yes, this we are depending on ourselves, standing on our own feet, and we have to fight for our own right. This is the only way any nation on earth can become independent, and this is also the lesson of our history.
Anyway, you don't think that it's important to complain in the big international forums like the United Nations, so as the world could know what is the situation in Aceh Sumatra?
Well, it is necessary to, sooner or later, to bring our case and our cause to the attention of the international community. But we feel we have to demonstrate our capability to become independent first. And we are prepared and believe ourselves we can do it. And after that, we will bring our case to the United Nations. We will request our friendly nations to recognize our independence. And I think this is the only way.
How many men you have in your army, and where you have your army in Sumatra?
Our army is all over our home island of Sumatra, and they are scattered all over. And our army is based on people's mobilization, total mobilization of the people. In our army, we organized territorially. So every province, every district, even every village has its own army to defend it. And this is very interesting because in our history, we have practiced this kind of self-defense. In fact, I want to point out to those of your listeners who like to read history. There was an article in the old Encyclopedia Britannica about Aceh Sumatra, in which it was written there that in time of war, every Acehnese, women, children, men and women, no matter what their profession, their ordinary profession, they all became soldiers. And we revive this historic practice.
What kind of what you think of the situation in what concerns the Timor-Leste, the old Portuguese colony? This is the first question, and the second question is: have you ever had made some contacts with the movements of the resistance in Timor?
First of all, my people and myself, we give full solidarity to the people of East Timor in their fight for liberation. The Indonesian regime, or rather Javanese regime, they have no right whatsoever to annex East Timor. We believe that the United Nations General Assembly has made a resolution describing colonialism in any form as an international crime. So, morally and politically, my movement supports the liberation of the Mobere people.
And you have any contacts with the movements resistant in Timor?
Yes, from the beginning we have contacted the East Timorese people to express our solidarity with them and to assure them that we will do everything we can to help them. As a matter of principle. And
in what concerns the military cooperation and a common solution, the same solution between Sumatra and Timor to defeat the Indonesians?
Of course, you can see very clearly that we have a common enemy. That is the Javanese Indonesian colonialist regime in Jakarta. And it is natural and logical for the people of Aceh Sumatra and the Mobere people should have sympathy to one another and should help one another against one common enemy. Of course, the East Timorese people have we have different history. Aceh Sumatra has a history, long history as an independent nation, militarily powerful. The Mobile people, of course, has been colonized by the Portuguese and have declared themselves independent legally in 1975, I believe. And differences in history, of course, has some political consequences. This for each of us to decide what is best. But from military point of view, we have one common enemy now. So that the fight of we in Aceh, we consider the fight of the people of East Timor like our fight. And we are prepared to give any help we can.
The Pope is going to visit Indonesia in next October. According to some sources, is going to Timor. What you think of the position of the Church and the Pope in visiting Indonesia? It is you read it as a support, international support of the Church to the Indonesian regime.
Well, this is of course a very important religious act or diplomatic act, and I hope that His Holiness the Pope will see to it that his visit will not be used by the Javanese colonialist regime as justifying or legitimatizing Javanese occupation of East Timor. This, I am sure, it takes a great deal of precaution. How the visit of the Pope can be denied, can be interpreted as not in one way or another legitimatizing the Javanese occupation of East Timor, because I am sure one way or another the Javanese are involved in handling, in arranging, in the Javanese forces, occupation forces, will be as feasible as the Pope himself. So this is, of course, the question for the Vatican to decide.
Dr. Tengku, thank you very much for this interview to Commercial Radio in Portugal.
Thank you. I came here for a private visit, and I am taking this opportunity to give my greetings to the people of Portugal.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.